Okay, let's do some yoga. I'm going to invite you to come to stand at the top of your mat. You can place your feet parallel, and you may want to start just with one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly. Start to connect with your breath, your inner world, the land that you're on. And lift up your toes, spread them apart, and reconnect them to the earth. Soften your knees. Next time you inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive over your legs. Take a halfway lift, draw your heart forward, and then step your right foot behind you. You can lower the knee down, you don't have to. Inhale, rising up into a low lunge, and then exhale to downward facing dog. Connect the palms, step back. Let's take an extra breath or two here. We're just warming up. Maybe you're wanting to pedal your heels or lift and lower. Make sure you've got a little softness in the elbows. Okay, wait for an inhale. Come forward to plank. You can do that on your knees if you want to, especially for this first one. And as you exhale, lower all the way down to the earth. Point your toes, roll the shoulders back, lift your heart for a little cobra. And then exhale back to your downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up to the sky. It can go as high as you want. And then exhale and step it through, lowering your back knee down if you choose, coming up into your low lunge. Exhale to the top of your mat, fingertips and feet step forward. Lengthen up halfway. Exhale, melt. Bend your knees, look forward, rise all the way up. You can lean back a little bit at the top if you want to. And as you exhale, just come on back down to the earth. Halfway lift, lengthen. Left foot steps back, the knee can come down. Heart and hands rise, inhaling into lunge. And then downward facing dog. Connect the palms and step back. Come forward into plank, again on or off the knees. You can lower all the way down, or maybe you want to do a little push up. It could be just a mini one. And then pull through into cobra or upward dog. Kneecaps lifted, shoulders down the back. And then press back to downward facing dog. You can use your knees or your core, or a little both probably. Next time you inhale, the left leg is going to rise to the sky. And then step up. Inhale, heart and hands rise, gently pressing the hips forward. And then exhale to the top of your mat. Lengthen up halfway. Exhale and melt. Bend the knees a bit, look forward, rise all the way up. And then as you exhale, bring your hands to touch in front of your heart. Let's begin again, reaching the arms up to the sky. And then dive to the earth. Halfway lift, draw your heart forward. Step your right foot back, then you could be lifted or not. Heart and hands rise. And then downward facing dog, connect the palms, step back. On your inhale, right away, come forward to plank. Lower all the way down, or little push up, that could be like a centimeter there. And then you can pull through to your cobra or your upward dog. And you could always be doing cat and cow here if you prefer as well. Back to downward dog on your exhale. Right leg rises on your inhale. And step it through. Inhale, reaching the arms up. And forward bend to the top of your mat. Halfway lift. And fold. Bend your knees, rising all the way up. And on your exhale, we're coming down. Halfway lift. Left foot steps back. Inhale into your lunge, take your time, follow your breath. And then downward dog. Through your vinyasa, and that again could be cat and cow. Follow your breath. Left leg will rise on in. Inhale, take your time. and through. Into your lunge, and then forward bend. Halfway lift, and fold. Bend the knees, rising all the way up. And then bring your hands to touch in front of your heart and just take a moment to receive. Okay, inhale again. As you exhale, bend your knees, reach your arms forward and up. And as you exhale, sink a little bit and bring your hands towards your hips. Press into the heels, rising up. You can straighten your legs a bit. Exhale, sink, hands to hips. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, sink a little. Inhale, rise. And exhale, sink. A couple more times. This can be as big or as small of a movement as works for you. I like to keep my toes lifted because I really want my heels to be doing the work here that gets my glutes activated. Okay, next time you come up, straighten the legs, interlace the fingers, press the palms up to the sky, and then curve over to the right, soft knees. Come up through center and curve to the left. Next, inhale, up through center, exhale, release your hands around behind your back, interlace them, or you could grab your strap here, hug the shoulders back, lift the heart. On an exhale, fold forward, soften the knees, let the fists come over your head. Keep pulling the shoulder blades together and away from your ears. Inhale, and then gently release the hands down the backs of your legs. Take a halfway lift again, and on an exhale, step your right foot back, returning to that low lunge. Okay, back knee can come down, reach the arms up. This time, interlace the fingers, press the palms up, and gently side stretch to the left. Draw the tailbone down and press the hips forward. Inhale up through center, release your right fingertips wide off your mat, or palm is good too. Left arm opens, and if you can, pick up that back knee. So you're in a nice wide open twist. Think of curving your heart back. Inhale, and then gently release the hands to either side of the front foot. You might want to grab your blocks for this, and that's fine. You'll just step that back foot in a little bit, maybe a foot or so that the heel can land. Toes are mostly pointed forward. And we're working both legs to straight. Take a halfway lift. Exhale and melt. You can stay right here, or you can flow with your breath, lifting your heart as you inhale. And as you exhale, folding down. Wherever you are, stay connected with your breath and think about pressing the left big toe down into the mat as you draw the left hip back. Okay, inhale, look forward. And then we're going to take that back knee down to the mat, not so much for a lunge, but for hands and knees. So this front foot, left leg, is going to go back behind us, yeah? Okay, from here, let's lift the heel, draw the belly in, shoulders onto the back. You can look slightly forward. Inhale, and as you exhale, bring your knee in towards your chest. Keep your spine nice and neutral, and then open the left knee to the left, and then back towards the sky behind you. Okay, bring the knee in as you exhale. Open, and then inhale, extend the leg back. Try 2 more times. Okay, let the toes land. Right foot swings back behind you. and you're going to spin that left heel to the earth for gate. I like to walk my right hand a little bit farther forward for this, and then open the left arm up to the sky or over the ear. Tuck the tailbone, find this lovely side stretch feeling. My right toes happen to be tucked under, but they could be untucked if your knee prefers that. Stay here or send the left arm up to the sky and allow the left foot to float. Stay here or bend the left leg, hold on to it with your right hand and come into a little bit of a chest opening. Inhale, and then gently release the foot to the back of the mat. We're making our way back to downward facing dog. So planting the palms, careful with that right knee. Step back to downward dog. You can absolutely take a child's pose or a cat and cow here, or any variation of vinyasa that works for you. Let's take a moment, either in downward dog or child's pose, just reconnecting with your breath, receiving the work that you've done so far. Listen for your breath. When you're ready, we're going to send that right leg up to the sky. You can open the hips up if you like. Bend the knee. Create some opening there, just finding that. Inhale, we're going to stay in downward dog, drawing the knee in towards the chest, much like we did on hands and knees. And then the knee is going to go open to the right and then back up towards the sky. Okay. If you want to add a little bit more here, we can draw the belly in, come to a plank pose, and then open the knee out to the side. Yeah. Okay. 2 more times if you can. Extend the leg up and step it all the way forward. We'll come into warrior 2 this time, so you can spin your back heel down to the earth, reach the arms up and open. Knee over your ankle, back hip is slightly lowering. Soften the shoulders and breathe. When you're ready, straighten your front leg. We're going to come into triangle. You may or may not want to shorten your stance a little, like a little heel toe there. Tip the right hip back, reach forward, place the fingertips. Make sure you're not locking into that right knee. Left arm opens to the sky. You can stay right here, or we're going to aim ourselves into half moon pose, which some of you know. You may or may not want to use a block for this. Okay, so the idea is that I'm tipping my triangle onto one foot. Okay, you might need a few steps to do that. So you keep that side waist nice and long, bend into the front leg, tip, tip, tip. Back leg lifts. You can have your right hand floating on the ground or on a block. Okay, I find floating, it sounds harder, but in some ways it's easier because your heart is higher. And sometimes you can kind of find your balance a bit better there. Okay, you can stay here, or I'd recommend doing this with your hand on a block or the ground. Bend your back leg, hold on to it, and come into that same little chest opening that we did on hands and knees earlier. Okay, I'm looking down at the ground. I find if I look to the side, I tend to fall. If you want to challenge yourself, you can look to the side for sure. Okay, release your leg when you're ready. I'd love for you to try gathering the belly in, float, and stand. Whew. You can place a hand on heart, hand on belly, and just take a moment to receive. Okay, when you're ready, soften your legs, reach your arms up to the sky. Exhale, dive forward over your legs. Take a halfway lift and then step your left foot behind you. Lower your knee down. Reach the arms up, interlace them, press the palms up to the sky, and gently side stretch to the right. Tailbone down, pressing your hips gently forward. Breathe, glutes are strong, kind of hugging the outer hips in, if that image makes sense. Then inhale up through center, left fingertips or palm come right off the mat to the left. Back knee lifts if possible, right arm reaches to the sky. Hugging those inner thighs a little bit together. Back leg is strong, especially if the knee is lifted, opening the heart. Inhale, and then gently release the hands down to either side of the front foot. Feel free to put your hands on blocks if that helps. Back foot is going to step in a little bit, and we're working to straighten that front leg. Lengthening the heart, drawing the right hip back. Maybe stay or fold, stay folded or flow. Inhaling to rise and exhaling to melt. But wherever you are, press that right big toe down and think outer right hip to the back, spine long. Breathe. Listen for that ocean sound at the back of your throat. Inhale, lengthen your heart, and then we're going to gently step that back knee down. So it's going to be a bit of a shorter stance than it was for our lunge. And we want that because we're going into essentially cat and cow. So the right leg is going to go back behind us. So just take your time to adjust as you need to, okay? Extend that leg, draw belly in, heart open, shoulders onto the back. Inhale, then draw your knee in toward you. Keep your spine the same, open the knee to the right. Loop it back up behind you and draw the knee in. Keep your jaw soft if you can, keep breathing. Shoulders drawing down the back, 2 more. And 1. Beautiful, and then we'll extend, land the toes, and we're coming into gate. So that left foot is gonna angle behind us and the right foot lands completely. And again, I like my hand just a little ahead of my shoulder. I find that's a lot more comfortable for me here. Right arm reaches up to the sky, maybe over the ear, draw the tailbone down. Take this as a lovely side stretch. My right knee was happy to be tucked under, my left knee doesn't like it. So it's okay, but just make sure that your feet are both active. Sometimes the body isn't so symmetrical and we have to honor what's happening. You can stay here or float your right arm to the sky and your right leg to the sky. Stay here or bend the right leg, hold on to it and come into a little chest opening shape. Let that right shoulder move back. Inhale, and then gently release the leg as you're ready. We're making our way all the way back to downward dog. So we're connecting the palms, tucking those back toes under. Be really careful with that left knee. Step back to your downward dog and then see what you need. Some variation of vinyasa, child's pose, cat and cow. It can change vinyasa to vinyasa. We'll take a few moments in child's or downward dog. Okay, when you're ready, take your left leg up to the sky, please. For right now, keep your body in downward dog. Draw the knee in towards your chest and then open to the left. And then back up to the sky. And you can do that again. Or if you want, you can add shoulders over the wrists. Open to the left. And back up to the sky. 2 more times. A little bit of core there. Use your strong breath. Beautiful. And then we'll step through to warrior 2. So bringing that foot forward, spin the back heel down, reach up and open. Bending the knee right over the ankle. I'm just noticing my wrist here, so why don't we add a little circle? Keeping the shoulders soft. And then reverse the circle. Soften. And then triangle. Straighten your front leg without locking. You may want to bring your back foot in a little bit. Tip the hips back so that they slightly face down. Place the fingertips lightly, but the heart is turning up to the sky. Shoulders on the back, open the chest. Okay, so we're going to make our way into half moon. You can absolutely stay here or bend into the front leg, reach forward and either float, or you could grab your block, or hand could be on the floor. But again, if you're floating, your heart's going to be quite a bit higher. I find looking at the floor at something that's not moving is very helpful. And if I'm going to take the variation, I do find having my hand supported on something is quite helpful. This is one of the few places I prefer the wooden blocks because they're nice and firm. The foam blocks are slightly wobbly, but I want to make sure I'm pulling my energy back so that I'm using my core to support myself. I've got a hold of my right leg and I'm back in that little back bend shape that we did on hands and knees before. Okay, and then we'll extend the leg. If you're doing that, look down, try to float, pulling up, 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 and then come to stand. Hands at heart, or one hand on heart, other hand on belly. Take a few breaths to feel, to receive. Gently release your hands around behind your back, interlace the fingers, or you could use a strap, or you could hook your thumbs as another option. Hug those shoulders back and fold forward again. You might try your feet a little bit wider apart, maybe shoulders distance. Soften the knees a bit and sway a little from side to side. Gently release the hands down the backs of your legs, and this time sit down. Just do that gently. And lay all the way down onto your back. Feet about outer hips distance apart, palms down beside you. Inhale, and as you exhale, gather in your belly gently, tuck your tailbone, press into your heels and lift the hips up a little bit. So this is more of a Pilates bridge than a yoga one. So we're going to gently lower back down again on the exhale. Release, then gather in the belly, tuck the tailbone and rise up. So it's not going to be very high. It's going to be kind of like a diagonal shape here. For now, we're just going to do a couple of these. It's really nice to just activate the core a little bit, the glutes for sure. Really nice and supportive for the lower back. Okay, and then we'll do one more like that. And then we're going to switch it into a yoga style bridge. So for this one, release to the earth and take a moment just to find your core. Keep your spine nice and neutral. So we're gathering in the belly and then press into the heels and just lift the bum straight up. And then you can take your elbows into a robot shape, press them down and apart to hug your shoulders under, and then snuggle those shoulders underneath you. Press the arms towards straight, hugging the knees together, taking your bridge. Gently release back down to your spine. Let the knees fall together or apart and just take a couple of breaths to receive, soften. Okay, so I'd like to offer an inversion today, shoulder stand. Really nice sort of medicinal pose, but it has a lot in common with bridge. So if you're not comfortable with shoulder stand, if you have any neck issues or you just don't want to or whatever, sometimes if you're on your period, inverting doesn't feel so good. It's safe, but if it doesn't feel good, stay in bridge, that's fine, okay? Otherwise, we'll try shoulder stand. So if you're comfortable with shoulder stand, what I'd like to do is take those robot arms and snuggle them under, okay? And I wanna be careful that I'm not looking around while I'm doing this. So I'm gonna talk about it, then I'm gonna do it, okay? So we'll lift the legs up and then we'll swing the hips towards the hands, crawl the hands up the legs, and work our way into the shape of a candlestick. This is sometimes called candlestick pose. So as I swing the legs up, I want to kind of use a bit of momentum with my legs and I want to push my elbows into the ground at the same time, okay? And I want to really work my shoulders underneath my body. So I'm not standing on my neck bones. Toes are active. I'm squeezing the legs together and I'm pressing the back of my head into the earth so I'm not losing my voice. Some of you might want to come into plow, letting your feet come all the way over your head. If your toes touch comfortably, you can interlace your fingers under you, kind of like you did for bridge. If the feet don't touch, keep your hands on your back. This is sometimes called poison removing pose. When you're ready to come down, just gently supporting your back with your hands. Roll down nice and easy. If you're coming out of bridge, same thing, just releasing down, knees together or apart, take a rest. Shift your hips a little to the left, pick up your knees, and let's come into a nice simple twist. Knees to the right, left arm to the left. You can look to the left as well. Softening. Use your belly to help you come back through center. You can also bring up one leg and then the other. Shift your hips a little to the right, pick up the knees and drop them to the left. I like to roll a little to the left just to kind of get my shoulders a little bit more in the position that I want them. Right arm goes out to the right. You could look to the right. This should feel good, okay? If it doesn't, your knees can move down a little bit away from your belly. You can also have your hand on your rib if you're getting any pinching or tingling feelings in the arm. Gently engage the belly. You can draw one leg and then the other back up. Reset your hips so that you're just nice and even. Take your right ankle gently across your left thigh and come into thread the needle, holding onto the back of the left leg. Feet gently flexed. Some people like to rock a little from side to side here. You could be still. If your legs are kind of far away, if they're hard to grab, and you're finding that you're kind of reaching, you could use a strap, or something that I often find helpful is a little block underneath the bum. It just lifts your bum up a little so you have a bit more gravity to work with and tends to soften the lower back. So feel free to try that if you want. And again, we're aiming for a stretch that you can feel but doesn't hurt or feel stressful. When you're ready, we'll switch sides. I usually like to send the legs up and give them a little shake, little wobble, and then you can come to the second side, left ankle to right thigh, holding on to the back of the right thigh. And the flex is important in the left foot because it keeps the knee integrated and ensures that you're not just cycling the knee, but you're actually stretching the hip. A little swaying, moving around is great here. Just be still. Let's gently release that. You can send the legs up to the sky and give them a little wobble. And then lastly, we'll take fish to release the throat after the shoulder stand that we did earlier, or bridge. Classically, you would do this sitting on your hands. So palms are down, thumbs are touching, and then the legs would go out long on the mat and you'd squeeze them together. Today, I'm going to do a version with the soles of the feet together and the knees open wide, and you kind of grab under the bum. So you've got something to hold on to. In either case, the elbows press down and apart, and then you lift your chest and come lightly to the crown of your head, squeezing the legs together. In my case, it's the feet, and then opening that throat by pressing the elbows down and apart. And if you're pressing the feet together, also pressing the knees down. If you want, you can do a lion's breath here. Stick the tongue way out and look up at your third eye. And if that felt good, do it 2 more times. Come gently back down to the top of your head and release into Shavasana, which often after fish, I just like to flop out, but feel free to adjust it as you need to if you have any shapes or postures that you need to end with, or if there's a way that you want to set up your Shavasana, feel free to do that. A lot of people like bolster under the knees. And then just take some time to receive the work that we've done today. And feel free to stay as long as you'd like. If you feel ready to come out of your Shavasana, you can bring in some gentle movements, maybe stretches. Eventually draw the knees in and roll to one side. And then come on up to a comfortable seat when you're ready. You can place your hands on your heart or together, or one hand on heart, one hand on belly, whatever feels most right. And just take a moment to bow your mind, your hands, your heart, your body, your breath, the land, the lineage of teachers that is with us in our practice. And thank you for sharing that with me.